In sports, the scoreboard doesn't tell the full story, but Netflix does. Stories about dads who happen to be world-class quarterbacks and a battle for the heart, soul, and direction of the multi-billion-dollar business of F1. Whether you're a diehard fan or you're brand new, Netflix has the stories for every type of fan. You can watch these incredible sports stories like Quarterback, F1 Drive to Survive, Untold, and many more now on Netflix.
Apple Card is the credit card created by Apple. You earn 3% daily cash back up front when you use it to buy a new iPhone 15, AirPods, or any products at Apple. And you can automatically grow your daily cash at 4.15% annual percentage yield when you open a high-yield savings account. Apply for Apple Card in the Wallet app on iPhone. Apple Card subject to credit approval. Savings is available to Apple Card owners subject to eligibility. Savings accounts by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, member FDIC. Terms apply.
The following is a snippet of an exclusive members-only podcast episode for our Patreon, Chronicles Tifosi. Become a member at patreon.com/Serie Chronicles for regular bonus episodes and content.
And then the aggression out of possession and winning the ball. I think he was very possibly the most sort of individually impressive player on the pitch. And I say that having skipped a player I meant to say beforehand, which is of course Kvaratskhelia having another. I think his sort of international coming out party almost after we've been blown away by him domestically, seeing him in Europe, doing it to Liverpool. I think a whole lot of people across the continent woke up to how special he is on the night as well. But to come back to Anguissa doing the one thing that hasn't been part of his game as well, sticking the ball in the net. I have an old friend who is a Fulham supporter who was sort of chuckling at the way he celebrated and sort of saying, you know, he'd never seen Anguissa score a goal at Fulham because he didn't. And then he'd looked every bit as surprised that he'd imagined Anguissa would when he finally put the ball in the net. So that was a beautiful moment as well. And I think actually with so many of these signings we've talked about on the podcast, Luciano Spalletti, the Napoli sporting director, and just the brilliance of the business he's done over the last few seasons. You think again about the high profile names that left this summer, from Insigne to Mertens to Koulibaly to Fabian Ruiz, and to replace them for cheaper options is brilliant. And the Kvaratskhelia deal we've talked about at length, sort of how quick he was off the mark there, beating other clubs to that opportunity when Kvaratskhelia left Rubin Kazan and was available for a fee that you wouldn't have expected to be able to get him at. So Anguissa is very much his find, and I think it's fun that one of the things Giuntoli has said for a while is, the only thing missing from his game is goals. And then here he is on the Champions League return for Napoli, sticking the ball in the net even. So nothing left that he's missing at that point. But how the role of the regista has been so fundamental actually all through Luciano Spalletti's career, the way he's managed to make the most out of and elevate players who play in that orchestrating role in midfield. Most sort of notably David Pizarro at Udinese and then Roma. And I think if you listen to Spalletti's things he's talked about in the past, he's talked about Pizarro as being this player who was actually really like fundamental in his whole career, like someone who really was a sort of building stone for him almost in his career, allowing him to make the progress that he did at Udinese, allowing him to install the sort of football, the ambitious, eventually striker-free football that Roma played under his leadership, and all of these things were facilitated by having someone who, in his words, you know, is always online, who's always connecting the team, who's always bringing things together. And he actually has some really fun anecdotes about Pizarro as well. I remember him talking about team weigh-ins, I think this is at Roma, not Udinese, and how before the team weigh-ins, Pizarro would be cutting his toenails and shaving off his sideburns to reduce his weight for the weigh-in and make sure the team was going to make the weigh-in, and then would reappear as soon as it was done eating some chocolate. But I think sort of said with a lot of fondness for him as sort of this idea of someone who's so generous of spirit towards his teammates that he will shave his hair off to make sure they get the team weigh-ins. So Spalletti has, I think, that history of sort of a connection with an individual who was so fundamental to the way his teams played. And then he goes to Inter, of course. And I think he was a really fundamental figure in turn Spalletti was in the next step of Marcelo Brozovic, who's become very possibly the most consistently brilliant regista in Serie A. And I think when you look at his career trajectory, that first season.
Velocissimo, rimpallo, cerca un gran numero ancora. Kvaratskhelia mette in mezzo, a rete! A rete! Appena entrato Simeone, ma che numero! Kvaratskhelia, 3-0!
È la commozione di Simeone meravigliosa, è la commozione, è l'emblema di questa squadra che ha questi primi 44 minuti fatti di cuore, qualità, intensità e ancora una volta la determinazione di un giocatore del Napoli, Kvaratskhelia.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Safeway has everything you need to get ready for Thanksgiving. This week at Safeway, get whole Signature Farms Grade A frozen turkey, 10 to 15.5 pounds for $8 each, or 16.1 to 22 pounds for $10 each. Member price with a minimum $50 purchase. While supplies last, limit one per household. Plus, mix or match select berries like 1 pound of strawberries or 6 ounces of blueberries, red raspberries, or blackberries, and get them 3 for $10, member price. Visit Safeway.com or head in store for more deals.